And man, you know, as excited as we both are about Capcom Cup, I mean, who wouldn't be with all the amazing play that we've seen thus far? Something just outside of Capcom Cup, no CPT points on the line, but there was a whole lot of pride on the line. Everybody's eyes were on Red Bull Kumite London this past weekend. Oh my goodness, bro. I think, where do we even want to start, man? I mean,
offline Street Fighter 5. I mean, that's where you got to begin. Offline,
Yeah.
before the event even began, the hype was building. That's what we kind of missed, was the mingling of the different scenes and the international communities. And we mentioned it last time, right? We've been like dogs on a leash, right? We're barking at each other because the tension has been building between these different communities. Like, we've been seeing iDom and Punk doing work in the USA. We've seen Tokido cooking with Urian, with the UK boys, Hurricane, and all of them doing work with Salt Mine League. And so we've just been waiting for these different groups to come together to really see who is the best. So that tension had built up, and I mean, the drama, I mean, that's what it is, right? Red Bull Kumite, it's not CPT. It's not meant to be, like, I would say, the most competitive format, because let's be real here, it's single elim, top 8. It's like these group
Brian,
stages.
let me hop in.
It's meant to be drama. It's meant to be pure competition, put the players in uncomfortable situations and see who comes out on top that day. And I mean, that's a recipe for entertainment, I think.
Bro, you're speaking nothing but facts as far as like the drama and everything. But I gotta say, bro, as far as that format, I feel like that is one of the best tournament formats I had ever seen, bar none.
I mean, I liked it.
The group stage, bro, round robin. So you gotta play, one is randomly seeded. So hey, you gotta play whoever it is, and then it's round robin. Everyone plays everyone in the first to 2, and then off of that, only 2 players from each group makes top 8. Of course, there's 4 groups. Then you get into top 8, and then it's immediately, as you said, single elimination, bro. First to 3, and then if you win, it's first to 4 for the next one, and then in grand finals, it's finally first to 5. But first and foremost, let's take it all the way back. I want to give a big shout out to the EU for representing their turf phenomenally. The main players that I want to give a big shout out for, because of course there's some players where, like Luffy and Problem, who we already knew that they were gonna put in work, like that. Phenom, we already knew. But how about players like, even my man AKA Jones did his thing. But then even going up the list, you know, as far as who even performed even better, Hurricane versus Tokido, bro.
Clean.
He shut it all down with everything on the line. He is the one. Let's not get it confused. He sent Tokido home.
He did.
It was actually whoever won that match with those out of those 2. That's who was actually gonna make it into the top 8. The other one got sent home, man. And Tokido's Urian is looking phenomenal. I don't like the fact that some people are thinking, oh, why didn't Tokido pick Akuma? Tokido knows what he's doing, man. Hey, try to play Tokido's Urian if you want to, man. It's right. Phenomenal. High Fight told me he picks Urian because his win rate is higher. He studied it, and his win rate is higher with Urian. So clearly, he brought his stick, and he brought his
Yeah, everyone was complaining. He kind of dual wielded the arcade sticks. The stick is for Akuma, the hitbox is for Urian.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, why did you bring that entire stick if you weren't even going to use Akuma the whole event? I'm sure there's some matchups he was planning to potentially use Akuma for, but they never came up, right? So he went in. That wasn't like a fluke decision or a last second, like, screw it, let me do Urian.
He
came in with a plan. That was his plan, yeah. And so it wasn't a nerfed Tokido. It wasn't a rusty Tokido. That was prepped prime Tokido doing his best against world-class players like Hurricane, who is now undoubtedly at that level. Because, like you mentioned, you don't win 1,000 Salt Mine Leagues in a row against world-class competition, the best in Europe, without actually being at that level. You just don't. You no longer have this gray area of saying, but it's online. Stop it. It's over. You got to admit that the people who are consistently winning in these environments have the skills. But, we're talking about Hurricane, we're gassing him up. I think we're forgetting one European competitor here.
Please.
The man himself, Mr. Crimson, the Dawson extraordinaire, the champion of Red Bull Kumite, taking out the best of the best. I mean, what can I say besides EU is not free?
Oh man, straight up, bro. I mean, what he showed. Let's put it out there like this, bro. You can't. The way this format was, you couldn't get a lucky path. Just off the group stage in itself, you can't really just get one decent win. Every group is super stacked, and let's talk about his journey. First and foremost, he's going up against Gachikun. Him and Gachikun had a match to see who was going to get eliminated and who was going to make top 8. He smoked Gachikun, a Capcom Cup, I want to say 2018 champion, in Rashid versus Dawson. He did him dirty. Then he goes into top 8. It's hard for me to even call. I'll say this, on any regular tournament that wasn't this amazing, this would have easily been the most dramatic match. And it may have been, but I think Grand Finals might have been the most dramatic match, to be honest. But one of them, an instant classic pop-off, Punk the God, arguably the best player on earth, going up against Mr. Crimson. We gotta lay the backstory a little bit, Brian. There was a whole lot of, I don't know where the trash talk started or whatever, but leading into that, they already had a 1st to 10 that they had on stream. Punk destroyed him, talked all kind of trash.
It was free.
It was bad. He did him dirty with punishing limbs and everything. There was some trash talk between them in the team tournaments a little bit.
Well, even before that, it was I think it was the tweets that sealed the deal for that. So they did a little Strive exhibition where Mr. Crimson won, and I think Mr. Crimson's a bit more familiar with Guilty Gear than Punk. So he said he just mentioned casually how maybe someone can teach Punk how to play some Guilty Gear.
Which he's talking trash.
He's talking trash.
Yes.
I think, in a friendly environment, because it's a game that's not out, so I don't think anyone really cares right now, right?
Exactly.
But Punk, I don't think he took it too kindly, responded back, well, it's been 6 years of Street Fighter V. Who's going to teach you to not be a bot anymore, right? That's bot. Replace bot with whatever.
That's fire.
Replace bot with whatever derogatory term you want to use for someone who's not skilled at a game, right? That's Punk's term for scrub. And so I think it was kind of building up from this, and then that all boiled over into that first match of top 8 where, Punk was already looking a little shaky because he barely qualified. First of all, we got to mention that the group stages were brutal because they're the 4 people in one group. It comes down to not only your individual matches that you win, the sets, it's about the game count. Punk had to beat Phenom 2-0 to make it out of his group. He had to win 2-0. If he won 2-1, Kawano, who had a great record and beat Punk early on in the set, Kawano would have advanced. So that whole group, you look at the group with Smug, Kawano, Phenom, and Punk. Really, Smug is the guy who saved Punk there because he took a game off both Phenom and Kawano in that group stage to make the records work out the way they did. So Punk came out actually first place based on game record because of that, winning 2-0 in the other games and then losing 2-0 to Kawano.
And that's clutch, being able to beat Phenom 2-0 when you need to beat him 2-0.
You could see the nerves. You could see he was shaking. So Punk was already
there was tears in his eyes, man. Like that.
It means a lot to him. It means a lot to him. So that boiled over. I think it's a lot to handle for Punk. Punk kind of, I think he set himself up for a dramatic situation, to come out barely qualifying. Yeah. The nerves are high, and then to have to go into a match where it's pride on the line, and then Mr. Crimson, what can I say? He said, you have to respect me now. That's what he said.
Man. He did his thing, man. Like, he ended up beating Punk 3-1 after he goes and gets the big win on Punk, the classic handshake pop-off. He goes up against Luffy in one of the best matches I ever seen as well, bro. And I literally mean that. One of the greatest matches that I ever seen.
Unstoppable force versus unmovable object.
Luffy's
they
offense,
were just
bro.
They were clashing. It was insane.
Luffy had jumped 3 times. He might dash 3 times right in your face. But it was all, of course, you know what? F that, Brian. Straight up, bro. Forget that. I was about to say it's all calculated. Look, it's not always going to be completely perfectly calculated, bro. That's not how fighting
You got to get
games
messy.
go.
Luffy knows that.
Bro.
Luffy knows how to gamble. That's what the
Yes.
character is. He talks about it all the time. He's won with other styles, right? That's not how Rose played. Rose is more of a checkmate kind of character in Street Fighter 4. Street Fighter 5 Mika is not about that. It's about the scramble. It's about the gamble. It's about forcing the guesses over and over with the risk reward in your favor. And Luffy is very transparent about that. He talks about that all the time, about how he's taking risks. He's like, I know this is dumb, but what am I gonna do? Am I gonna out-footsie you? Am I gonna sit here and poke you to death? Why would I do that when my pokes lead to 60 damage max and your pokes lead to a confirmed to corner carry to free throw pressure, right? I gotta get in, I gotta mix it up, and I'm playing Dalsim. Take the risk. Dalsim's punish game is what is weak about him, right? His keep away game and his rushdown game are what is strong, right? It's like the middle ground. Like, people talk about him him as a zoner. No, he's a hybrid keep away and rush down character. It's the middle ground where he doesn't have the strong punishes or the poke confirms, which is where he's weakened, which means you can go aggressive in those areas to try to get more damage. You need to play the numbers game against him. If you try to play safe and solid, and listen, that's something I did for a long time, and Balrog smokes Dalsum, it's a dumb thing to do. Go ham. And Luffy knows that. He went ham, and that's where you saw the focus. I mean, talk about nerves. I think Mr. Crimson, he was so just deadly focused this event. I don't know how he kept it together in that Luffy set leading up into the grand finals to have that same killer mentality and not crack under the pressure.
And by the time he's in that grand finals, man, he's already conquered so many demons. He's already accomplished so much. And I feel like to a degree, he's playing with house money. And I don't say that to downplay him whatsoever, because he earned that. Even getting up to that spot, I'm already like, yo, Mr. Crimson, you are amazing. You are OD. You are the story of this tournament. But was that enough for Mr. Crimson? Was that enough for the new free agent, actually, Mr. Crimson? No, it was not, because he goes up against iDom. iDom is he's a robot, bro. And we seen it even in that match. It came down to, I mean, they're just trading blows back and forth. iDom has all of the experience in the world.
Also to mention, iDom, he beat Mr. Crimson in the group stage 2-0. So let's not, they were in the same group. That's why they were on opposite sides of the bracket. iDom beat Mr. Crimson 2-0, Lord Dalsum group stages. On the way back, so he probably felt comfortable a little bit. It's just that Mr. Crimson played that well. I was shocked. I thought, I'm going to be honest, I thought iDom was going to steamroll. And even F4 on commentator was like, let me be transparent. It's going to be an uphill battle for Mr. Crimson. I think most people counted Mr. Crimson as the underdog here, but he kept it toe-to-toe with iDom all the way to the final game, final round. And in that final round, I thought it was over, because you know what iDom did? There was that EX Fireball combo. The trade combo. Mr. Crimson did EX Fireball, 2 hits on the Fireball. iDom does EX Elbow through it. Somehow it connects. The second hit of the Fireball breaks the armor. It trades, and he gets a conversion from it and gets him to the corner. I said, that's it. It's done.
That's a momentum killer, bro. That's a momentum killer.
And that's how iDom wins, right? He gets momentum, and you're done. But somehow he manages to create space, gets the knockdown, gets the mix, and closes it out with chunky damage. Like, he knew how to set up mixes to get fat damage with Dalsum, which are generally rare to see. And he just closed it out and looked like, I did it. He didn't just have the matches. He didn't just, get through pools and cost him says. He didn't just conquer his demon and demand respect. He took the whole event in style. So props to Mr. Crimson. That was just an amazing story that weekend.